Okay, good morning and good afternoon to my dear students. So we will discuss the module 2 of accounting. So fundamentals of accountancy, business and management 1. So basic accounting concepts and principles. Okay, so learning objectives, explain the various accounting concepts and principles, solve exercises on accounting principles, discuss the major groups of accounts and the accounts under each group, prepare a chart of accounts. Okay, so the International Accounting Standards Board or IASB. Okay, different countries have relied on their own accounting standard setting organizations. Starting in year 2000, two major standard setting bodies have emerged as primary standard getting bodies in the world. So the International Accounting Standards Board or IASB is one of these two organizations. It is based in London, United Kingdom. So it issues international financial reporting standards or IFRS. So the Philippines is one of the many countries presently using IFRS alongside many other countries. So what is the importance of the IASB? So si IASB po is the account ang purpose niya is to provide accounting standards po for the whole coun- for the whole the coun- for the whole country. Okay? So si IASB po, so part niya po si International Financial Reporting Standard which is yung IFRS. So ang main goal nila is magkaroon lang po ng pare-parehong ah konsepto, basic concepts and principle ang ating accounting department. Okay po, so yun po siya. Kaya nagkaroon ng International Accounting Standards Board. Okay po, so parang meron po tayong iisang format na sinusunod when it comes to preparing different financial statements. Okay? So, yun lang naman po yung purpose niyan. So, for its objectives, develop a single set of understandable and enforceable global accounting standards that require high quality, transparent, and comparable information in financial statements and other reports to help participants in the world's capital markets and other users to make economic decisions. So, syempre, uh, para yung investors natin, diba, yung mga future investors natin is knowledgeable when it comes to checking the different financial statements of a certain company po. So, yun po siya. Kaya nagkaroon ng standard, accounting standards, okay, pagdating sa financial reports. So, yan po. So, general purpose. So, for general purpose financial statements are directed towards the common information needs of a wide range of users like owners, management, lenders, creditors, and suppliers, employers, the public, government agencies, local and national, and customers. So aware tayo, guys, before na-discuss natin, this is the users of accounting information, diba? So, kung ano man yung related niyan about the accounting. So, na-explain ko na before. So, you can back read our module para mas maintindihan nyo. So, this is it's the internal and external users of accounting. So, syempre, the objective of financial statement is to provide information about the financial position, operating performance, and the cash flow. So, explain ko lang muna ulit ang financial position number 1. So, statement of financial position or balance sheet, di ba po? So, ito po yung other term natin for balance sheet. So, in the composition of balance sheet, nandyan po yung assets, liabilities, and owner's equity. So, under assets, meron po tayong current assets at saka non-current assets or pinilagay dito na long-term assets. Sa liabilities naman, meron din tayong current liabilities and long-term liabilities. And dito naman sa owner's equity, kung mapapansin nyo, pag owner's equity, ibig sabihin lang yan, sole proprietor yung business. So, pag stockholders equity, company po siya or corporation. So, yun po yung composition ng balance sheet natin. Etong tatlong elements po na to ng accounting. So, bakit siya tinawag na balance sheet? Kasi po, pinagbabalance po natin yung total assets into total liabilities and owner's equity. So, yan. So, pag nag-balance po yan, ibig sabihin, okay na tayo. So, pag hindi siya nag-balance, so gagamitin po natin yung double entry system na na-discuss din natin in our previous discussion. So, yun po. So, and add ko lang din, itong balance sheet na naka-illustrate dito sa ating discussion is, ito po ay tinatawag na report form. Kasi yung last time na pinakita ko sa inyo is account form. Yung example niya kasi naka 2 column siya. Ito, tuloy-tuloy lang yung pag-enlist ng different accounts. Okay, so yan po ang ating balance sheet. So next naman is the operating performance or the statement of income or income statement. So also called profit and loss statement. Okay, so marami po tayong term pagdating sa income statement. So, yun guys. So, income statement. So, for the year ended December 31, 2015, kung mapapansin nyo, ito yung header natin. Same with balance sheet. So, importante po yan to determine kung anong financial statement ang pine-prepare nyo. So, under naman sa income statement, so makikita nyo, ang content niya is yung revenues, then yung expenses. So, revenues or sales or service po. So, yun po yung pwede nating term dyan. So, pag-add po natin yung revenues natin. So, may merchandise sales and music lesson income under Paul's Guitar Shop Incorporated. So, a total of 27,800. Then, meron po tayong different expenses for the ended December 31, di ba po? So, yan po yung mga yan, expenses na yan. So, ito po yung mga accounts na dapat yung tandaan, 'di ba? Kung saan niyo po siya ilalagay, under ba siya sa liabilities. So pwede po yung yung mga different accounts po na na-encounter natin, pwede po natin yan, magagamit po natin yan sa balance sheet natin and sa income statement and sa sa cash flow statement po. So, kung ano po yung amount na nakalagay doon sa certain account, so yun lang po, i-rewrite lang po natin pag nagpe-prefer tayo ng financial statement. So, yan po, i-add po natin lahat ng cost of goods, ng expenses, cost of goods sold, depreciation expense, and etc. Then, 14,850 total expenses, ililess po natin sa total revenues na 27,800. So, nag-result po siya na 12,950. So, automatically, it's net income. So, pag net income po, automatic, may kita po tayo sa business natin. Pag sinabi namang net loss, magne-net loss lang yan pag nag-negative po itong total natin. Okay? Once na niless nyo na lahat ng total expenses natin into our revenues. Okay po? So, I hope clear po tayo dyan. So, next naman is the cash flows or the statement of cash flows, the source of cash flows, and the use of cash flow for a period of time. So, sa cash flow po, ito po yung cash in and cash out ng isang company. So, ito medyo complicated siya pag pin-repair nyo kasi you need to determine kung kailan po kayo mag-i-increase, magle-less, or mag-a-add. Magle-less or mag-a-add. Okay? So, dito po sa cash flows, meron po tayong tatlong part. So, cash flows from operating expenses, cash flows from investing activities, and cash flows from financing activities. So, ito, madidiscuss to sa grade 12 nyo sa accounting 121. So, malalaman nyo po yung differences ng tatlo na yan para at least malagay nyo siya sa tama. And dyan po ganito po yung itsura niya. Ito po yung sinusunod natin. So, sa accounting standard natin. So, 'di ba? So, lahat po ganito yung presentation pagdating sa pag-prepare ng different financial statements. So, ngayon, hindi pa naman kayo magko-compute. Ang kailangan nyo lang is ma-familiarize nyo yung different accounts na naka-input dito. Okay? So, yun po. So, yan po. So, I hope clear po tayo dyan. So, next natin. So, yan na, familiarize nyo lang. Hindi ko pa naman kayo pagpe-preparein yan. So, kaya okay lang na i-fast track lang natin. So, kasi kailangan nyo munang alamin yung mga dapat yung malaman pagdating sa accounting 1-2 para hindi kayo mahirapan. So, elements of financial statements. So, dito na po tayo. So, eto kanina pa natin na may mention. Even last time ng discussion na mention na natin to. So, elements of financial statement is the asset, liability, equity, income, and expenses. So, 5 lang po yan. So, ito po yung important elements na kino-consider natin when in preparing the financial statements. Okay? Wait lang po. Okay. So, number 1 is asset. It is a resource controlled by the enterprise as a result of past events and from which future economic benefits are expected to flow to the enterprise. So, yung asset is ano po, totally owned by a proprietor or by the business or by the person. Okay? So, paano mo ba kino-consider yung asset sa'yo as a students? Ano ba yung mga asset mo? For example, matalino ka, asset mo siya. Mabait ka, asset mo siya. So, mga ganon. So, ano pa? Yung mga material things na meron ka. Cellphone, gadgets, 'di ba? Yung different gadgets na meron ka. So, asset mo po yun as a person or as individual. So, yun po yung kinoconsider na asset po natin. Okay? So, pagdating sa accounting, ito po yung mga pagmamay-ari nyo. Okay? Sa business nyo. Okay? So, it's either land, cash, diba? Cars, furnitures. So, yun po yung mga different assets natin. The next is liability. It is a present obligation of the enterprise arising from past events, the settlement of which is expected to result in an outflow from the enterprise of resources embodying economic benefits. So, liability, from the word liability. So, ito po ay mga bagay na binabayaran mo. Okay? Obligation. So, ito yung mga, uh, ito yung dapat mong i-considera pagdating sa business mo. Kasi pag pinabayaan mo siya, ikaw yung mayayari, mababaon ka sa utang. Ganon. So, wait lang po. So, liability in simple terms, utang po yan na dapat mong bayaran. Okay? So, mga atraso na dapat bayaran sa iyong business. Kasi kung hindi mo to kung utang ka lang ng utang, and hindi mo siya binayaran. So, ikaw yung maapektuhan yung business mo. 'Di ba? Mababangkrute ka or bankrupt, 'di ba? Bankruptcy. So, yun po yung liability. Okay po? So, I hope clear tayo dyan sa liability. Next is another element is the equity. It is the residual interest or remainder of the asset of the enterprise after deducting all its liabilities. So, from the word deducting. So, ide-deduct po muna natin yung total assets natin into liability. So, lalabas po ang ating owner's equity. Okay? So, kumbaga ito na yung tinubo mo sa business mo. Okay po? The next is the income. It is an increase in economic benefits during the accounting period in the form of inflows or enhancement of assets or decreases of liabilities that result in increases in equity, other than those relating to contributions from equity participants. So, 'di ba, yung income, so from the word income, yung na-earn natin sa business natin, 'di ba po? So, aware naman tayo yung sa tinubo at saka yung na-earn mo mismo sa business. So, iba po yun. So, income, from the word income, so yun talaga yung kinita ng ng business na tinayo mo. The next is expenses. These are decreases in economic benefits during the accounting period in the form of outflows or depletions of assets or incidences of liabilities that result in decreases in equity other than those relating to distribution to equity participants. So, expenses. So, kumbaga, ito, si liability and expenses, medyo related sila. Pero, syempre, pagdating sa business, hindi mo maiiwasan yung different expenses na ma-encounter mo. So, marami pong expenses yan. So, dapat po yung mga expenses nyo is may na-manage nyo pagdating sa business. Kasi, pag more on expenses na kayo, tapos wala naman kayong income, so nagda-down din talaga yung business nyo. Okay, hindi siya kumikita. Okay, next, so I hope clear tayo dyan sa 5 elements of financial statements. The asset, liability, equity, income, and expenses. So next natin is the qualitative characteristics of information in financial statements. So quality, from the word quality. So ito po yung dapat na meron na na na, na ang tawag to? Character na meron sa financial statements mo. Okay? So when preparing the different financial statement. So dapat syempre kailangan quality 'yan. Okay? So number one, qualitative characteristics is the understandability. Okay? So, dapat yung ginagawa mong financial statement is naiintindihan mo at naiintindihan ng mga kasama mo or yung magbabasa ng iyong financial statements report. So, yun lang po yung in simple terms. Okay? Then, relevance. So, pag sinabi bang relevance, ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng relevance? So, information has relevance when it influences the economic decisions of users by helping them evaluate the past, present, or future events, or confirming or correcting their past evaluations. So, di ba? So, yung relevance pa na ang point dito is yung makakatulong ba siya sa pag-solve ng possible problem. So, yun po yun. So, kumbaga, before nagka-encounter kayo ah, nagka-encounter kayo ng problem sa accounting department or sa inyong kumpanya, ano yung magiging way para matulungan mo yung through your financial reports, financial statements, so paano siya makakatulong sa mga future events or confirming or correcting the past evaluations, 'di ba? So parang dapat we learn from the past, 'di ba? Na iiwasan na natin yung mga pagkakamali pagdating diyan sa pagpe-prepare ng financial statement. So next, quality naman po. Qualitative characteristic is the materiality. So syempre, so from the word material. So dapat talaga kapaki-pakinabang yung information na nakalagay doon sa financial statement mo. Kaya nga 'di ba, hindi po lahat ng documents natin hindi yan tinatapon. So fina-file po natin, sinusort, nire-record. Then saka po natin fine-prepare yung different financial statement. The next, reliability. So dapat reliable source siya, 'di ba? So hindi mo siya ginawa para lang dahil trip mo. Dapat ibig sabihin eksakto de impunto yung ginagawa mo. Okay? Based dun sa soft and hard documents na meron tayo. Okay? Reliability. The next, faithful representation. So, information must be represent faithfully the transactions and other events. It's either purpose to represent. So, syempre, pag nasa accounting department ka guys, so automatically trusted ka ng iyong mga managers, ng bosses mo, 'di ba, ng business owner. So, dapat ikaw as employees is ginagawa mo talaga ng maayos yung trabaho mo, 'di ba? So, faithful representation. Okay? So, walang halong pandadaya pag nagpe-prepare ng financial statement. Hindi po natin dapat dinadaya. Okay? The next is substance. Syempre, content. Yung information na meron doon sa ginawa mong financial statement. Dapat talagang may substance siya. Okay, magagamit nyo talaga siya. May purpose kung bakit pinrepare mo yung financial statement na yan. 'Di ba? So, syempre, diyan madedetermine kung kung ano na talaga yung status ng business nyo eh. Kaya, yun po, yung qualitative characteristics. The next is neutrality. So, wala kang kinikilingan. 'Di ba? Pagdating sa paggawa ng financial statement. So, hindi mo porket parang ang ginawa mo, 'di ba? Ang daming expenses. So kinat mo yung na expenses na yun just to inform the owners na okay yung accounting, yung sources of fund, pero hindi naman pala. 'Di ba? So hindi po dapat ganoon. Then next, prudence. Prudence is the inclusion of a degree of caution in the exercise of the judgments needed in making the estimates required under conditions of uncertainty, such that assets or income are not overstated and liabilities or expenses are not understated. So yun nga, hindi po tayo nagbabawas, hindi tayo nag-a-add pag naggagawa tayo ng different financial statements. So eksakto po tayo sa lahat. So kung ano yung documents na meron na dapat i-record, nire-record nyo. Okay? Next, completeness. 'Di ba? So from the word completeness, meron po tayong sinusunod sa completeness, 'di ba? For example, for this month of January. So yun dapat lahat ng transactions na naganap within January dapat recorded 'yan, kumpleto, walang mawawala. Okay? So next is comparability. So syempre, yung financial statement, kino-compare po natin yung mga previous na ginawa para at least ma-determine natin kung saan tayo mag-i-improve. 'Di ba? Kung saan tayo magfo-focus, 'di ba? Sa pagdating sa pag-flow ng business natin, 'di ba? So yun po yun. So paano mo ano pa bang ways para mas maging successful yung business mo? So yun po yung purpose and the different qualitative characteristics of financial statements. So, I hope clear po tayo dyan. So, next naman is the constraints or relevant and reliable information. So, the constraints or relevant and reliable informations are timeliness, balance between benefit and cost, balance between qualitative characteristics, and fair presentation. So, dito, pag nagpe-prepare po tayo ng different financial statement, may tinatawag po tayo na deadline. Okay? Ito yung sa timeliness. Yung dapat po pag gagawa tayo ng mga reports, on time po nating nagagawa. Hindi po natin yan pinapag dinedelay. Kasi nga, dito nakasalalay kung ano na ba yung status ng business mo. Yun yung lagi mong tatandaan. So, and kailangan mong i-report ano man ang mangyari sa inyong owner, business owner, or your managers or your bosses. Then yung balances between benefit and cost. So the benefits derived from information should exceed the cost providing it. So the evaluation of benefits and costs is substantially a judgmental process. So dapat po yung mga expenses, benefits natin benefits and costs na tinatawag is level lang, balance lang. Hindi nag-over po tayo sa costing natin and yung sa benefits natin. So, dapat po level lang. Okay? Then is the balance between qualitative characteristics. The aim is to achieve an appropriate balance among the characteristics in order to meet the objective of financial statement. So, etong qualitative characteristics, ito po yung previous na diniscuss natin. So, dapat po lahat yan balanse. Siyempre, ano po yan ito yung principles, yung ethics mo. Pag nag-start ka pag nasa accounting department ka, so pag nagpe-prepare ka ng different financial statement, dapat kung ano man yung characteristics na dapat meron sa isang accounting personalities, apply mo siya. Then next, fair presentation. So, ano po tayo, wala po talaga tayong dapat na dinadaya pagdating sa sa reporting natin sa financial, sa accounting. Kasi ano ba yung fair presentation na tinatawag? Kasi yung, 'di ba, pag for example, kailangan niyo ng investors. Pero ang ginawa niyo, dinaya niyo yung mga reports niyo, yung financial reports niyo, para ma-pursue niyo yung investors na yun. Makuha niyo yung investors na yun. Hindi po dapat gano'n. Okay? Then pa yung status ng business nyo, dinaya nyo pala. Ang dami na pala nating losses, pero hindi nyo ni-report. So, para hindi lang kayo mapagalitan ng boss nyo. So, mali po yun. So, yun dun yung nire-remit dyan. So, yun yung tinatawag na constraints. So, I hope clear tayo. So, if ever may questions kayo, so magkakaroon naman tayo ng meeting or pwede din sa group chat kung ano man yung question na yun and tulungan natin na sagutin natin yung tanong na yun. Okay, next naman is the underlying assumptions. So, going concern assumption and the accrual basis accounting. So, ano ba to? Ano ba ibig sabihin nito? Okay? So, sa underlying assumptions, so dito is, paano mo ba, etong ways na to is para sa mga lenders natin or yung mga future loans natin. So, eto po yung etong going concern assumption po. Ito po yung assurance na pinapakita natin or nire-report natin sa ating mga lenders or sa mga investors. So, ano po yan na parang at ah, after 5 years, so ganun po, magkakaroon ng income si gantong business. 'Di ba po, yung gantong business natin. So, income po. So, ganun po yun, going concern assumption. Ito yung parang assurance na makakabayad tayo sa mga loans natin. So, yun po. Kaya, kino-consider natin yung itong mga underlying assumptions, yung mga possibilities na pwedeng mangyari. Kasi pagdating kasi sa business, hindi pag kunwari kailangan natin ng fund para sa business natin and walang-wala tayo, ang gagawin natin, 'di ba, we're looking for investors or maglo-loan tayo, maghahanap tayo ng mga lenders. So, syempre, ano yung ipapakita nyo sa kanila or bibigyan yung assurance na makakapagbayad kayo. So, yun. Gagawa kayo ng financial report na expected for 5 years or whatever. So, to prove lang to show them na kikita ang iyong business. Okay? Then dito naman sa accrual basis accounting naman, so lahat ng accounts mo is kino-consider mo na assets, liabilities, equity, income, and expenses. So sa accrual basis accounting po, ang ano lang diyan is lahat ng transactions is under that sa 5 elements na yun. So, under siya sa assets natin, sa liabilities natin, equity, income. So, ito yung mga possible, satisfy the definition and recognition criteria for those items. So, ito yung pagpe-prepare natin ng dalawang financial statement, yung balance sheet, at saka yung statement of income. So, yun po yun. So, etong underlying assumptions po, going concern assumptions, saka accrual basis accounting, ito lang yung pagbibigay nyo ng assurance pag naghahanap po kayo ng inyong mga investors or lenders. So, ano po yan, tawag dito, parang kumbaga nag-aano kayo, nag-a-assumption kayo, nag-aano kayo, in next 5 years, 'di ba? Ano yung possible na maging case, ano na yung status ng business natin. So, yun po yun. Okay? Kumbaga, ano pa ba? Kumbaga, ikaw as a person, 5 years from now, ano ka na ba ngayon? Ano ka na kaya? So, yun po yun sa underlying assumptions. So, I hope clear tayo dyan. So, next naman is the recognition of elements of financial statement. So, sabi ko nga sa inyo, dapat mapamiliarize nyo yung different accounts. So, dito, you need to recognize the different elements of financial statement. So, yun na nga, dapat malaman nyo or maintindihan nyo kung under, ano na ba siya, assets ba siya, liabilities ba siya, income, expenses, or equity. So, eto po siya. So, processing and output. So, under processing, source documents, ito yung mga transactions na naganap sa isang business. Journalize in the journals, enter the journal. So, magjo-journalize na po kayo. So, magpe-prepare na po kayo ng journal. So, mapag-aaralan natin yan. Post in the ledger. So, ito yung summary. Then, prepare trial balance. Then, income statement, balance sheet. So, ito na po yung reporting output. Okay? So, ito reporting, 'di ba? Then ito yung output, dito na tayo mag-i-interpret. So, yun po na ano natin yung accounting process. So, paano nga ba natin mare-recognize yung different elements of accounting? So, under assets, when it is probable that the future economic benefit will flow to the entity and the asset has a cost or value that can be measured reliably. So, makikita nyo, example niya, bought a Toyota delivery equipment for 1.5 million. So, where recognized, saan siya makikita? Sa balance sheet. Okay? So, next, liabilities. So, asset shop. Asset kasi bumili tayo ng Toyota, ng kotse para sa ating delivery equipment, 'di ba? So, consider 'yon as your own, ano, 'di ba? Pati, pagmamay-ari mo. So, automatically asset siya. So, saan to makikita? Sa balance sheet. Okay? Sa financial statement, sa balance sheet. Next is liabilities. When it is probable that done at outflow of resources embodying economic benefits will result from settlement of a present obligation and the amount at which the settlement will take place can be measured reliably. Example, purchase books from National Bookstore, 120,000 on account. So, nag-purchase daw po kayo ng libro sa National Bookstore, galing yung credit card nyo. So, automatic obligation yun. 'Di ba? So, utang yon. So, liabilities. So, saan daw po natin siya ire-report or saan natin siya makikita? So, sa balance sheet din, 'di ba? So, aware naman tayo kasi na ang composition ng balance sheet is the assets, liabilities, and equity. Tama po ba? So, yun po. The next is the income. So, when an increase in future benefits related to an increase in an asset or decrease of a liability has arisen that can be measured reliably. So, example, receive 30,000 cash for wholesale of 200 reams of copy paper. So, nagkaroon po tayo ng 30,000 cash. So, sa pagbebenta ng 200 reams. So, automatic income po siya, 'di ba? So, saan po natin siya makikita? Siyempre, sa income statement. So, sa sales po siya. 'Di ba? The next, expenses. So, when a decrease in future economic benefits related to a decrease in an asset or an increase of liability has arisen that can be measured reliably. So, example, paid 21,000 for Meralco bill for electric consumption for the month of April. So, ito na po yung mga utilities natin, utilities expense. So, syempre, ito po ay kinoconsider na expenses, yung mga bayarin. So, reported din siya sa income statement. So, next natin is the balance sheet accounts. So, ano ba yung mga makikita nyong accounts sa balance sheet? So, eto na po. So, sa assets, meron tayong current and non-current. So, ito yung dapat yung tandaan. Okay, naka-indicate na dyan. So, under current assets, ano nga ba yung current assets? So, an asset shall be classified as current when it satisfies any of the following criteria. So, it is expected to be realized in or is intended for sale or consumption in the entity's normal operating cycle. It is held primarily for the purpose of being traded. It is expected to be realized within 12 months after the balance sheet date. Then it is cash or a cash equivalent as defined in IAS 7 cash flow statements unless it is restricted from being changed or used to settle a liability for at least 12 months after the balance sheet date. So, current assets. Isisimplify ko na lang po. Ito po yung mga pagmamay-ari or magiging sa'yo within the 12 months. Okay? Within the 12 months. Okay? Ito po yung mga bagay sa'yo or sa business mo na meron ka or mapapasayo within a 12 months or within a year. Okay po? Kaya siya tinawag na current assets. So, ano yung mga example ng current assets? Cash on hand. Ibig sabihin, pag sinabing cash on hand, meron ka na cash. Literally na meron kang cash. It's either coins, currency, checks, postal money orders, and express money orders, cash that is intended to be deposited with the bank when a petty cash fund is maintained. Okay? So, whatever man kung nasan yung cash mo, consider siya as current asset. Next is the petty cash fund. So, yung petty cash fund kasi ito yung yung just in case of emergency, 'di ba? Pag sa mga business mo, for example, yung sa custodian mo, yung mga uh, drivers, 'di ba? May mga unexpected bayarin sila. So, kinukuha yan sa petty cash fund. Okay? So, to be used for petty or small payments that cannot be conveniently made with checks. Okay? So, pang-suporta lang. So, just in case na meron bigla ang bayarin. Okay? So, cash in bank, 'di ba? So, cash in bank, so from the word in bank, ito po yung pera na meron ka sa bangko. Yun yun. So, whether savings siya or checking accounts. Okay? Then next, accounts receivables, amount due from customers arising from credit sales or credit services. So, yung mga accounts receivables po, for example, service ka and service yung business mo, 'di ba? And nagpapautang ka. So, for example, ito yung sa Korea. 'Di ba, minsan ang ginagawa nila 'pag nagpaparetoke, partial payment lang, 'di ba po? Tapos, later on, magbabayad na sila. So, hindi sila nagpapabayad ng full. Kung ano lang yung available mo. So, automatic, syempre, kung ano man yung pag-usapan, kung kailan sila magbabayad. So, ganun yung collection. So, accounts receivable siya. Basta within a year or within 12 months. Okay? Consider siya as current assets. Okay? Yung mga accounts receivable. Okay? Yung mga parating na mga magbabayad sa'yo dahil sa service mo, yung mga ganun. The next, notes receivables. So, yung mga, syempre, yung ginagamitan niya ng promissory notes. So, kung aware kayo doon, pag for example, sa tuition niyo, hindi kayo makakabayad for that certain month or day. So, gumawa kayo ng promissory notes. So, automatically, yung school, meron siyang notes receivable na expected yon na magbabayad ka in that certain day. So, magpa-promise ka kasi doon kung kailan ka magbabayad. So, notes receivables. Then, unused supplies. So, laboratory supplies, medical supplies, office supplies, bought but not yet used. So, etong mga unused supplies, makikita mo siya sa inventory nyo. Okay, kaya mahalaga din yung pag-i-inventory. The next is prepayments like prepaid rent and prepaid insurance. So, expenses paid in advance. So they are assets at the time of payment. They become expenses through the passage of time. So yung mga prepayments natin, so consider siya as current assets kasi ito yung binayaran mo ng advance. For example, sa renta, okay, yung store mo, business mo, nagbabayad ka ng renta, pero nagbayad ka ng advance. So, consider yon as your assets. Okay? Yung mga paid in advance. Okay? So, I hope clear po tayo sa current assets. So, all other assets shall be classified as non-current. Ano ba yung kino-consider na non-current assets? So, ito po yung land, buildings, accumulated depreciation building, equipment, laboratory equipment, medical equipment or office equipment, accumulated depreciation, equipment, laboratory equipment, medical equipment, office equipment. So, yan po yung mga non-current assets natin. So, Bakit? Kasi 'di ba, aware tayo itong land buildings, so hindi lang yung lupa is tumatagal po 'yan, yung property na 'yan, 'di ba? 'Pag binenta mo siya, automatic hindi na siya consider as your assets. Pero 'pag 'yan ay pagmamay-ari mo for a longer period of time, consider siya as non-current assets. Kasi hindi lang naman isang taon mo pagmamay-ari 'yan. So, possible mga ilang years pa. Then yung buildings, 'di ba? Kung kailan mo siya pinatayo or yung business mo, matagal na siya na naka-structure, fully structure. So, consider siya as your assets, non-current assets. So, eto lang, isi-simplify lang natin, basta eto yung kabaliktaran ng current assets. Kung sa current assets, nagbibilang tayo ng 12 months or 1 year, consider as current. Dito naman sa non-current, nagpas tayo ng 12 months. 'Di ba? Pwedeng 4 months, 'di ba? 6 months, and etc. So, consider as non-current assets. Yung mga equipments natin, 'di ba? Yung mga computers, desktop computers, yung mga machines natin, consider po yan as your non-current assets. So, I hope clear po tayo dyan. So, eto po mga na-mention dyan, yan po yung mga transactions or accounts, different accounts, na matatagpuan nyo sa balance sheet. Pero, possible din na matagpuan nyo sa different financial statements. So, next is the current liabilities. So, same with current assets, ito naman is current liabilities. At isisimplify ko na lang siya. Ito yung mga bayarin or mga utang mo na dapat mong bayaran within 12 months or within 1 year. Okay? So, tawag po dyan is current liabilities. So, ano po yung mga example ng current liabilities? Ito po yung accounts payable, 'di ba? Pag sinabing accounts payable, so ito po yung ah kunwari may supplier, 'di ba? Si supplier, automatically sa'yo as a business mo, accounts receivable siya. Pero sa'yo naman, accounts payable ka. Ibig sabihin, may babayaran ka doon sa supplier na yun. So, it's either 30 months, sorry, 30 days. So, depende po sa napag-usapan nyo. Minsan kasi 10, 20, or depende po kasi yan sa contracts na napag-usapan nyo sa business nyo. So, yun po yung accounts payable. Yung mga bayarin po natin within a year. Okay? Next is notes payable. So, katulad ng sa promissory note, gumawa ka ng promissory note na magpabayad ka sa gantong buwan or sa gantong araw. So, yun po, notes payables. So, I hope clear tayo dyan. The next, unearned income. So, income received in cash now, but to be earned in the future. Diba? So, yun po, yung mga hindi pa natin na-receive na cash. So, yung mga possible nito, yung mga, kunwari, nag-invest ka. Syempre, hindi naman automatic, bibigay nila yung kinita mo. So, consider siya as your liabilities. 'Di ba? The next, expenses payable. Yung different expenses po natin, expenses na incurred, yung biglang may babayaran ka pala within a year. So, yun po. So, expenses payable, current liabilities. The next naman is the salaries payable, rent payable, taxes payable, utilities payable, and etc. Madami po yan, yung mga payables na yan. So, consider siya as na current liabilities. Okay? Current liabilities. So, yung example po ng non-current liability is ito yung mortgage payable. So, ito yung mga sanla-sanla. Diba? So, loans payable, diba? Secured by the entity's real estate property. Okay? Yung kumbaga sa bangko, 'di ba? Hindi ka nila papautangin pag wala kang binigay sa kanila na property mo. Na ito yung kumbaga ito yung pangsalo if ever na hindi ka makabayad. So, yun po yung mortgage payable. So, non-current liability po. Yung mga non-current liability, ito yung mga, uh, yung liabilities na obligations na dapat mo isettle, 'di ba, na lagpas sa isang taon. So, yun po. So, I hope clear yan. The next, equity. So, equity, owner's capital, and owner's drawings. Yung owner's capital, ito yung pagbabalik nung ano mo, nung capital mo na nilabas mo sa business mo. Then, yung owner's drawings naman, ito yung winidraw mo. Yung mga withdrawals mo pagdating sa business mo. Okay? So, ito mostly nililess dyan sa income mo. So, yun. This accounts is credited increase for business net profit and debited decrease for the net loss. Okay? So, yun po siya, yung owner's drawings. Yung owner's drawings, withdrawals. Owner's capital, ito lang yung parang, kumbaga, di ba, naging successful na yung business mo. So, kinuha mo na yung capital ng ano mo, yung startup mo para makapag-start up ng business. Kinuha mo yung capital. So, yun yung equity. Then next, income statement accounts. So, syempre, aware tayo pagdating sa income, pag nagpe-prepare ng income statement. So, nandyan po yung revenues. So, total revenues nyo, it's either sales or service income. So, yun yung kino-consider siya as gross income from the sale of company products and services. So, then, ililess po natin yung cost and expenses, yung cost of sales or cost of services, salaries expense, diba? Utilities expense, rent expense, then depreciation, supplies expense, transportation expense, diba? Depreciation expense and representation expense. So, kung matatandaan nyo guys, itong representation expense, ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo before na, kunwari, isang part na kayo ng kumpanya, then birthday mo. So, may ibibigay sila sa'yo na gift bilang isang mabuti kang empleyado. Yun yung tinatawag na representation expense. So, yun. Gifts or cakes, diba? Sa isang company. So, representation expense po yun. Yung dati na sinasabi ko sa inyo pag if ever na may birthday kayo or may special occasions ang isang empleyado. Okay, then interest expense. So, I hope clear tayo dyan sa different expenses na yan. So, madali naman siyang maalala kasi, nasa scenario siya eh. Kung saan mo siya, papangalanan mo siya. 'Di ba? Ito yung kasi yung mga accounts. So, supplies expense. For example, bumili ka ng mga laboratory supplies kung medical pala yung nasa medical field ka. 'Di ba? Office supplies, 'di ba? Yung mga needs mo sa company. So, supplies expense. 'Di ba? Yung mga bills na binabayaran sa kuryente, sa tubig, sa wifi, ang tawag po doon, utilities expense. So, the next is the accounting equation. Okay, nasa accounting equation na po tayo. Okay, the accounting equation, the last part of the module. So, medyo mahaba talaga siya. So, ito po yung formula na tinatawag. Diba? Formula. As is na siya. So, hindi na po yan nababago. So, ito po yung equation natin. Assets is equals to liabilities plus owner's equity. So, kung mapapansin nyo, ito si assets, total assets natin, liabilities and owner's equity, yung sa balance sheet, diba? So, sabi dito, interest in business assets, then liabilities is the outsiders, and the owner's equity is the insiders. Diba? So, yung mga liabilities natin, bakit siya consider as outsiders? So, ito kasi yung mga outside expenses natin. Diba? So, owner's equity, insider, syempre, yung capital natin, yung drawing natin as owner. Diba? So, assets. So, ito yung mga properties na meron ka and properties na na-earn mo because of your business. So, assets. So, ano yung example computation dyan? So, when total assets is equals to 600,000 and liabilities is 180,000, the owner's equity is 420,000. The equation may appear as follows. So 600,000, diba? Minus 180,000 is equals to 420,000. Okay? So, kung Kung susundan natin tong equation natin, assets is equals to liabilities plus owner's equity. So, pag pinag-add po natin si liabilities na 180 and si owner's equity na 420, mag-i-equal po pa rin siya sa 600,000. Okay? So, umiikot po yung natin, formula. Fix po yan, pero mapapansin nyo, balance pa din sila. Okay? 'Di ba? So 180 plus 420, 600,000, 'di ba? So equal pa din, 'di ba? Sa math natin, equal. Next, or when total assets is 900,000 and owner's equity is 400,000, so the total liabilities is 500,000. Syempre, so 900,000 minus 500,000 is equals to owner's equity na 400,000, 'di ba? So kumbaga, ah 'di ba? 900. So pag inad mo to, si liability sa kasi owner's equity, 900,000 pa din. Pag niles mo naman si 900,000 to liabilities, makukuha po natin yung owner's equity na 400,000. Nakukuha po ba? So yan po. So the sum of liabilities 500,000 and owner's equity is 400,000 is the total asset of 900,000. Equal pa din po pag pinag-add natin si liabilities and owner's equity. So, okay, wag po kayong malito sa formula. Ang kailangan lang, dapat mag-equal si assets at saka si liabilities and owner's equity. Okay? So, yung accounting equation. So, more on commonly, specifically, nagpo-focus siya sa ating balance sheet. Okay? Pag hindi po nag-balance, automatic, nandiyan si double entry system. Okay? So, may mali tayong accounts na nailagay. It's either nasa liability siya or nasa asset siya. So, another example, the result of operation is either a net income or a net loss. In a sole proprietorship, the net income increases the equity of the sole proprietor, while net loss decreases his equity. In rare instances, the result of operation is neither a net income or net loss or zero. A zero is a break-even where total revenue equals to total cost and expenses. So, for example po, di ba gumagawa ka ng income statement, di ba? So, yung net loss at saka yung net income. Pag nag-zero siya, ibig sabihin, break-even lang. So, nag-ano lang, kumbaga, paano to? Yung parang sumakto lang lahat ng expenses mo sa kinita mo. So, ganun. Parang nag-level lang. Pero pag nagkaroon ng sobra dun sa sales mo, automatic, meron kang income. Pero pag nag-negative, yun, nawawala yung owner's equity, nababawasan yung capital. So, yun po siya. So, dito sa formula, 500, liabilities, owner's equity na 400,000. So, equals pa din po sa 900,000. So, equal pa din siya. So, balance pa din po. So, I hope clear yan. So, that's the end of our discussion. So, good luck to your activities. So, madali lang naman siya. So, you need to determine lang kung current assets or non-current assets yung activity natin. Itong mga to. So, madali lang. So, follow nyo lang yung instruction para hindi kayo maligaw. Copy and answer. So, thank you very much and God bless sa inyo. And goodbye, everyone. So, kung may questions or clarifications, you may contact me directly or gusto nyo sa group chat, so okay lang sa akin. So, kayong bahala. So, maraming salamat and goodbye.